to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you do a roll call?
Trustee.
Please sign
Bowles?
in.
Trustee Bowles?
Here.
Trustee Brown?
Here.
Trustee Burgess?
Here.
Trustee Young?
Here.
Supervisor Detmer?
I am here.
Clerk Chair.
Good. All right, let's look at the minutes for the scheduled meeting of May 17th. Anybody see any corrections or additions?
I've got one, it's just misspelled word.
What page?
It's page 4 or 5.
It's a dictionary.
Section 10 under old business. M&M remodeling of Creek will new install windows and doors.
Oh, we'll install new, it's backwards. It should say we'll install new windows. We just reverse it.
But,
Under
Section 10.
section 10, old business,
4 or
and then
5.
remodeling of Crete will install new, you got will new install. It's the,
will install new window.
will install new windows, right, just reverse the install and the new. Anything else?
I'm sure there's something in there about Sandra. Was she looking to hire more than one student or just one student?
I have no idea.
I thought she said students.
She hires at least 8 students, but sometimes
Yeah, I
more.
just said, I thought she said students, but
Wasn't she
the
here?
minutes it is.
She was here, but she said she wasn't feeling well, so she gave me something.
In the minutes it said student. I could have sworn she said.
She sometimes does more than one, though.
Right, I thought she said she was looking to hire a couple students.
Right.
But I saw in here.
She used to go to the Institute,
Mhm.
activity, and hire.
And we just got hiring summer student. I know that's the only thing I can find, and I did.
She goes where?
James. That's under assessor, but I
ITT.
can't
Illinois
verify.
Technology. Illinois Institute of Technology. Oh,
Well, I don't think it matters.
It said hire summer
Right.
students.
We're not certain, so let's leave it as it is.
What I can do is, I can check with her sometime and,
You said students, you can change it, yeah.
Just get multiple people.
Right.
That's all.
Anything else, anybody? Anybody?
Just a comment here and there. Just a comment here and
Okay, you want to bring it up and show it, or?
No.
Okay.
there. It was in the dollars.
Okay. Is there a motion then to approve the minutes of the meeting of May 17th as corrected? So moved. Moved by Terry. Second by Debbie. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
yes.
Supervisor Detmer?
Yes. We're going to move into public comments. Monee Township residents may comment on agenda items or any other topic of concern to Monee Township. After public comments, only discussion by board members on agenda items is allowed. Usually, when you want to comment something, I want you to please stand up and state your name and your address, please. Anybody have a public comment?
Hi, my name is Debbie Orlandi.
I'm sorry, what is it?
Debbie Orlandi.
Debbie Olandi.
I live in
What's your
Heatherbrook,
address?
in the township of Pine Marys. And I've been reading about this solar farm properties. I understand there are 2 within the township. And I would like to know about that, more information about that. Has that been approved?
Which
Was
one?
Well, we have the one that is on Pauling in Mill Center.
No, the Pauling and Will Center is not. It's on our agenda tonight, and even we don't have it on as an approval item. I believe it's on as a discussion item only, and it's because the land use department is the one that has to send us a notice of the hearing that they have with the number of the hearing number, or their petition number, whatever they call it. And once we get that, then it would probably be on an agenda. Now, I do know that our plan commission did meet on June 7th, and 4 out of 5 members, there were only 4 there, did okay it. But we can't send any letters or do anything in approval until the time that we get the correct information on that. But there was, I was also at that discussion, and there was a lot of questions asked, and a good thing that you might want to look at is, I know it was taped by WPAL, and I don't know when that tape is going to be on, but it's the June 7th Monee Township Plan Commission, and we asked a lot of questions of the people that were here, and it might be a good thing for you to watch.
Okay, but is your general consensus that this is a good thing for the township?
The general consensus of the Plan Commission was that there was no harm at all to the township, that it was actually almost, I mean, there was nothing. They were saying that they actually come in and besides putting in the solar panels, that they don't affect anything. It doesn't affect cell phones. It doesn't affect the regular phone lines. They plant actually prairie grass and everything. They plant shrubbery around, normally 2 sides of the property. We did say, well, we think that for sight line for some of the subdivisions nearby, that we think you need to take and put it on at least 3 sides, if not 4 sides. And so they would have shrubbery all the way around to make it more sightly. But other than that, they are not doing any environmental damage. It does not hurt any wildlife. There is just nothing that shows any other effect.
I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. And,
Well, I mean, yeah, is
especially where it's going to, the next one here,
Right.
where they're proposing this. And I was talking to James earlier, that Pauling Road, we have houses that's really part of our subdivision.
Right.
Right there on Pauling Road.
Right.
So, I don't want to get into it.
Is that a long term, like when they you give them approval?
They have a 30-year contract, and as I said, there's nothing that our township can do about it, because we can say yay or nay, that we don't approve, or we don't object, or we object. Because it is not a zoning variance, it's a special use permit. They do not, our vote doesn't change anything. If it was a zoning variance, then our vote would make sure that the board, the Will County Board, would have to have like 3/5 or 3/4 of the members present voting yes or no, whatever. But if it's a standard, if they're just voting standard without a letter of objection, then they would, on a planning variance, they would only have to do a majority vote. But as my lawyer told me last time, is that because it is just a special use permit, anything we send to them, yay or nay, doesn't make any difference at all. The zoning board and the Will County Board still can pass it by just a majority vote. So other than that, we really, I mean, other than expressing an opinion, we do not make, there's nothing we can do.
Thank you.
And I did put out something to the subdivision, but I don't know when it's coming up for vote in Will County and back to us, okay? So I assure you that I would do that.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You said that you had an interest in knowing about the solar farm. How do you feel about
No,
that?
I'm not an interest. I was reading about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You had an interest.
We have that community, Monee has a community thing where they like to make you aware of what's going on.
Right.
And also, what's it, WPALTV? I was reading something.
Okay, but as a homeowner, how do you feel about
Well, I have read that, I was reading about the other one, and I mean, it could be rumored that it would affect our value of our homes.
it? Well, that was one question.
Negative.
That
Right.
was one question I asked during the planning commission.
Right, and
meeting.
that was my concern.
Okay. All right, because this one, the second one, is closer to the residential areas
Correct,
than the first one.
correct.
And James did ask that question, and basically the answer was is that the home values for all, and these people have done quite a number of these, and they are saying that the home value, it was not necessarily affected anywhere that they have built these at all. Okay. There were no home values. And the other thing that they said, which was kind of interesting, is that this is not a done deal. I mean, even if they get the zoning ordinance and everything, there's 101 things that they have to do. And they said that it was kind of, didn't they, James, say it was kind of like a long shot that if we'd ever get it. I mean, there was a 50, I think less than a 50% chance. There's no guarantee that will go through. And the other thing that they said, which was very interesting, was that they said Will County has one of the toughest zoning ordinances that they have. They're making them jump through a lot of hoops.
Well, that's good to know.
And that is good to know. I felt better about it myself, knowing that they had that.
You know, Will County wants
Ma'am, one other question.
Yes.
Did you get any type of notification in the mail about the hearing?
we could get it.
No,
And they don't have to. They only have to send, I'm not certain they have to send it, but I thought, and you check with Will County, their things.
I saw
Because
this.
when they actually goes through and they have a hearing on this, because this isn't even scheduled till September for this one that's on the Will County Center.
I think I saw the other property, they had a sign posted.
But they are supposed to just identify just the people that are land,
Surrounding.
adjacent land users.
Because I brought that question up too in the meeting, and they thought that that planning commission meeting was where residents would come out and ask questions about it.
Right.
And well, what I'm finding out is that people in Heatherbrook did not know about it.
No.
And what I'm surprised is that both of the sites are in the proposed master plan of the airport. The proposed Peatone Airport.
The original design.
With the
I think
master.
the footprint is,
Well, the big site, that's gone.
oh, the big one.
The
right.
big site's gone.
Right,
Yeah, well, it's not
Right.
so much gone,
right.
it's there further down the road.
Yeah, but even at that, it's off the road is the north boundary.
Dave, you live in Heatherbrook, don't you?
No.
No.
No, we kicked them out.
Okay.
I saw him older and I got a car.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? Yes, stand up, please, your name and address.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Maria Abney.
Marina, is that?
Abney, A-B-N-E-Y. I've signed in. My address is 27640 South Egyptian Trail Road. I live very close to the Offner and 50 location for the proposed solar farm. I have 5 points I'd like to make tonight. I will be brief, I will be as concise as possible, but I am here to give you information. I am a private citizen. I don't have the benefit of a staff like the zoning committee does, attorneys at my disposal. I am just a businesswoman with 20 years of sales experience under my belt, and I want you to be aware of some of the information that you're getting. Think about the sources you're getting this from, because you are getting them from corporate salespeople. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we have to be aware, we have to be cognizant of what we're doing with our community, and we have to ask the right questions. We have to put the burden of proof back on these solar farm companies for public safety health, and that's my #1 point tonight. So with these solar farms, some questions that are coming up at higher levels with Will County board meetings that you should be aware of, which I've attended every single one of the last 2 related to this decision that was already passed on Offner and 50, is public safety. Water studies are not being done on drinking well water. These 7,857 photovoltaic panels that are located at this proposed Offner and 50 location will be on a moving mechanism. Anybody that works with moving mechanisms knows that lubricants are required to create perpetual motion. What is running off into the groundwater? The drinking water I drink and my 3.5-year-old drinks, because we are on well water. Has anybody asked this question? Because I know from their zoning reports, they are not doing water study reports. I'm talking about public safety. And that's something that we do have the ability to push back on these corporations and say, I want you to show me what is in these lubricants that will be running into the ground for a 25-year minimum lease with a 10-year rest period. 35 years, this land that is viable, fertile, natural habitat that was replanted 17 years ago with federal funds. 44,000 trees were planted on that 133-acre parcel, of which this is 30 acres that we're talking about at 50 and Offner. So let's say it's 10,000, 15,000. We're talking $100,000 that was put into this land that's going to be bulldozed and returned to and put into a solar farm. So public safety, and that brings me to my next point, second point, optimal sites versus non-optimal sites. We talked about the impact for this coming proposal here of Pauling and Will Center. We have people that potentially create this to be a non-optimal site. In Offner and 50, we have a natural habitat that was created 17 years ago with federal taxpayer dollars. Thousands of trees, and it is a habitat. I encourage you to go there if you haven't seen it yourselves. I've also been to Will Center in Pauling. I started talking to the neighbors. I knocked on the door of Eileen Whitmire. She owns 100 acres across the street from Will Center in Pauling. Had no idea that this is going in. Shocked, to say the least. There is no community awareness about this. You might post it on a website and somebody might see it, but nobody knows. I only found out about it not because they notified me. I am an abutting neighbor to Offner 50. I purchased the land December 28th, 2017. I closed on the same day as the landowner that is putting the 30-acre farm in, solar farm. Will County cited that they didn't know there were multiple owners, yet in all of their maps, they showed multiple tracts, and they referred to the site being broken up in the sale. So I never received my certified letter. I brought it up multiple times. I only saw that this was happening because of the signs that were posted at the site. So when you think these solar farms are following everything to a T, they're not. We have to slow down. We have to ask questions, and we have to feel like we aren't powerless. There is nothing our township can say about it. That was said in this meeting tonight. That is not true. We have to ask these questions. I am beseeching you, I am pleading with you as a member of this community to please ask these questions, because these solar farms have billions of dollars. They're stakeholders. They're not necessarily our friends. We have to ask, even our friends, if what they're doing is good for us. And we have to ask our potential business partners or investors if what they're doing is good for us. So let's not be afraid to ask questions. Let's not follow group herd thinking, and let's all ask questions. We're all sitting here with questions, and it's great that we came out tonight and asked them.
Absolutely.
So, with that said, optimal sites. Even solar companies will tell you that there is such a thing as a non-optimal site. And I would highly argue that 50 and Offner is a non-optimal site. It is, and we've got several people now. Chairman Len Valone, who is the chairman of the Will County Board Zoning and Planning Committee, he voted against this. So this is a higher level. He said, I saw that this was by the Monee Reservoir, but I never noticed it was right next to Raccoon Grove Forest Preserve. I don't see why this is going in. His words. So, optimal sites. Are we picking the right sites? Representative Judy Ogalla has now said publicly she never has given thought to optimal sites. Are we putting this over a habitat? Is that going to cause a disruption? It is, I'm sorry, but deer are not going to frolic among 7,857 photovoltaic panels. It's not going to happen. Furthermore, I'm going to move on to my next point, and that is zoning. In keeping with the comment, there's nothing that our township can say about it. I'm going to quote an article from the EPA, and this is from a gentleman who was working for solar farms. And this is a comment that he had, a conversation he had with the mayor of the town, where he was trying to put the solar farm and they shut him down. In my repowering work, I'm often reminded of an experience I had while serving as general counsel for a renewable energy developer. The firm had learned that the township in which it had optioned a parcel of farmland for a solar project had amended its zoning ordinance, restricting solar projects, such as ours, to areas zoned industrial. My arguments to convince the town council to change their zoning back were unsuccessful. At the end of the evening, the mayor came to me and said, "You know, we really do like your project, but we rather see it on the old landfill we own instead of the farmland. What do you think?" So this is a mayor saying we put zoning in place to discourage these installations from going over land that's usable, land that's a habitat, land that's right next to subdivisions of homes, and saying, we don't mind solar. I'm a proponent of solar, but are we going to put it on good land for 35 years? When we have a problem with producing enough food for people in this world, is that a good idea? And what does that do to 50? Do we want that to be industrial? It's very rural right now. If you drive down 50 and you get past this right here and start heading towards Peatone. So with that said, there is zoning that can be done. And I just gave that quote. I'm happy to supply the EPA article. And you can look up the town that it was effective in. That'll move me to my next point, and that's my final point, really. And that is about the financial aspect of this multi-billion-dollar industry. And I would also encourage you to push back on these companies. I was in sales for 20 years. I used to call on Goldman Sachs. I sat in some of the biggest boardrooms at the top of the buildings in New York City. And let's not think small. They want to come into our township. You're going to have a lot of suitors knocking at your door for the next year or 2 or 3 or whatever. Be very careful and spell out what you want in this relationship. Don't just take what they offer you and say, well, I guess this is good. We'll get a solar farm. Let's cut that ribbon. Ask questions. Push back. What are the incentives to our town? Yes, we're going to get $240,000 of taxes that I've heard supposedly going to schools. But what else? What else are we getting? Are we going to get discounted electricity to our residents? No.
That's what they told us.
I mean, from what I've seen in the plans, it's going to be sold back to ComEd. That's what I've seen. And the plans that I've come across from Community Solar for the Offner 50 and the other 2 that are Beecher and Manhattan that were rushed through, all going to get sold back to ComEd. I didn't see anything about discounted electricity. So perhaps with this new vendor, but push for that. Ask, what are the benefits to our community? You have a 24-hour unmanned site. You're not creating jobs. 35 years, that thing is going to sit unmanned. Not a single person, other than the people that come to cut the grass and trim the shrubs. So job creation, I don't really see it.
No, it's not that pretty.
So what are the benefits? And again, I can follow up with this information, myself and a couple of other community members who are opposed to this, and asking questions and doing research in our free time and bringing our children to meetings at night so they can crawl around on the floor and we can speak. We have examples. Massachusetts, they've gotten very smart about doing these installations over old landfills and doing co-ops where they have some stake in these solar farms, and they have vouchers and credits where they're getting even more profitability, and that profitability is going back into the town. So let's think about these. These are a big opportunity that are coming through, and are we thinking strategically? Are we being pragmatic about the impact that we can have on our community? And don't just take the low-hanging fruit, but ask for more and ask for a long-term impact. So we are creating jobs, we are creating opportunities. We're using our land in a good way. We're being good stewards. Maybe we're looking at some unsightly areas and saying, why don't we have a solar farm come in here? This has been an eyesore for 30 years. We can't get anybody in here. Get a solar company. Put it there. Don't put it over 30 acres of beautiful extension of Raccoon Grove.
Okay, thank you very much.
So thank you again. I appreciate it.
I did want to have a couple points of that. My understanding is, and David, you can tell me a little bit, I think, about the land that they talked about. It was owned by a farmer that's leasing the one on Offner, and wasn't we under the understanding that it was really, it hadn't been farmed for years and really wasn't that good of land for farming?
No, it was enrolled in the Conservation Reserve Program back in the 80s. And they're the ones that paid to get it, keep it out of production. At least 10 years, might have been more. And that's what they did with that parcel.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing is, that parcel never got cleaned, but this spring, the parcel right next to it, they wanted to farm it, so they just took all the trees out and burned them.
A good portion.
So it wasn't the solar project, it was the people who owned the land.
Yeah, the person that bought the land next to the solar farm cleared it off.
All right, so that has nothing to do with the solar farm, moving the trees.
Yep.
And the other thing is, I had made a note of, is that, as I said, I think that I just can encourage residents to go to the county board and to the land use committee, because we do not set policy. We do have nothing to do with setting policy. Even sending a letter of objection or no objection is of yes or no objection does anything at all. So it is up to the residents that are near and in the area to do that. We do not get anything. Another thing I learned at that last meeting too is that when you're saying, is it going to cut your electricity bill? The way it works, the way he explained it, is that it will, once they get the okay from ComEd, then what happens is that they actually have to go out and individually go to every homeowner and have them sign a contract. And if you sign that contract, then what it does, it gives them, then they'll give that to ComEd, and then ComEd then will charge you less on your bill. But it's just a sign up an individual basis.
Well, right, but I mean, even that sounds like an opt-in. I mean, and that's just a program they're putting in front of you and saying, well, this is how it works.
And I understand that, because
you can question the rules at any time, and you can question, they told you it's non-viable, the land, I'm planting it. And yes, it's the same land that was planted, like he said, this other gentleman, he said it would let to rest for 10 years. That's part of the program, the federally funded, like I said, they purchased the trees. I talked to the former owner, Miss Lillian, trees. They had to let it rest and restore it to prairie for 10 years. It's now been out for about 7, going on 8 years. And the land is fine. Yes, it's just like the other land in Monee that's got a lot of clay, but that's anywhere you have, and we're farming it, small on a small level, but I'm personally farming that land. So.
And unfortunately, there is no financial gain that the township gets from this. Even the taxes will be so small, and even the school district, because right now there's something going on in Springfield about the changing the tax structure, because right now it's still zoned agricultural. Putting a solar farm is not going to change the zoning from agriculture to anything else. It is just a special use permit, and because it's agriculture without any improvements on it, basically, they cannot tax it very well. But I think that there's something going on in Springfield where people are trying to bring it up so it's taxed at a little bit higher rate so that it does benefit more of the school district and the taxing bodies. But okay, if there's no other comments.
I have comments.
Mr. Margraf,
Thank you.
state your name and
I will come over there because I wish this to be on the camera.
Sure, and state your address.
My name is Dorothy Margraf. I live 27253 South Timber Lane, Monee. I am in the Raccoon Grove area. I want to say that I have been coming and videotaping these meetings for years. Not because I'm bored, not because I'm looking for something to do, but for one reason. I believe in government transparency. I believe government transparency is extremely important. In this case, we have not had government transparency at all. The way this all came about, how we started finding out, is Maria saw a zoning sign with letters on it about 1.5 inches high. She was curious about it, and so she went and took a picture and then started finding out what was going on, why the signs were there. I started getting interested because I live in the area, because I believe in government transparency, and I kind of figured that no matter what was done, I've been taping this board long enough, and I was taping the Monee Village board before that, to realize that unless an effort is made on the part of the government to make people aware, it's not going to happen. The people in this area are pretty, I'd like to say, mellowed out, okay? When we're talking about 7,896 panels, photographic pen, photogen, whatever. They are 6.5 feet by 3.5 feet. And we are talking 7,800 of them. Not only do you measure it by the length, putting them next to each other, but you have all of the spaces in between. You have them, how far off the ground they are. This is a huge area that has been decided that, hey, a solar farm would be nice, okay? You talk about the planning committee and this letter from here from the village of Monee. Those are really icing on the cake. They make it look like a planning committee. That sounds very, very important. And if the planning committee agreed to it, that's important. They know what they're doing. And it was okay by the Monee Township Board. They know what they're doing too. And that's when I went to both the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting and spoke out. And that was one day after I found out what was going on. And I went to the Land Use Committee meeting. And I went there and did research in between, in that 1 week of research, more research to find out what was going on. Anyone can do that. When I got there, I found out that they were handing out a 67-page packet of information on this project. That was not mentioned at all. The 67 pages, and it was dated May 27th. This planning has been going on a very, very long time. This planning is not new. My guess is that they spotted the area where they could get through. And I'm going to say something that you guys are going to consider very rude, but I've got to say it. It's a little bit like the salesman and the farmer's daughter. They come in, big corporation, the salesman, and they come into areas where the people are nice people. They're not particularly active, and they're the farmer's daughter. And it sounds really good. The salesman is really, really tops. Okay? Everybody is nice, but that's not enough. I saw it, and my son put up the video for the May 7th, for the May meeting, for the township meeting. The presentation was so absolutely simple that anyone would go along with it. Hey, we like solar farms. We read an article about solar farms. Solar farms are good. We're going to be good and have one in our community too. That information was nowhere near what was in that 67-page final staff report of the Will County Board. The information was not given to you guys. I don't know why, but it really wasn't, okay? I believe in, okay, there's problems of the disposal of the solar panels that have been talked about on the web, the use of the land, the technology may be outdated during this period of when the panels are up there. So what do you do with when the panels and the technology has moved on? Okay, the water quality. There was no really information given to this board who the heck Community Power is. They came here and they said, yeah, we're going to put a solar farm in. And I didn't get that information at the planning and zoning meeting or at the land use meeting. Who are these people that are coming in? They're going to get 30% of the cost of what they're putting up from the government. What kind of company is it that can get those kind of loans to put in major projects? And Community Power is doing 3 of these projects. The one here in Monee, the one in Beecher, and the one in Manhattan. That's a heck of a lot of money for that information not to be presented to this community. I mean, it really should have been. I'm going to go one step further, and again, you may consider me rude, may not want to talk to me ever again. But there's a certain thing called corporate fascism, and anyone can step into it very, very quickly. Corporate fascism is when all the deals are made between the corporations and the government, and the community is totally kept out of it. That is so dangerous. You set a precedent with something like the solar farm. Somebody could come in, make a presentation, and it does sound so good, and if you haven't looked at all of the details and even thought of looking at all the details, you're into corporate fascism, and that's big time in this country right now. There's only one thing that's needed to turn a country into a dictatorship. And I know you think, well, you know, this is Monday, what are we talking, dictatorship? It sounds overly dramatic. The fact is, the only thing that allows any country to be turned into a dictatorship is when you allow the government to do all the decisions. And then you sit back and say, yeah, they're good, they're nice people, they're making all the decisions for me. That is so dangerous, so dangerous. I want to say that I have put links up to the May Monee Township meeting on the web. I put a link up to the planning and zoning meeting. And that planning and zoning meeting and the land use meeting, those are done by an individual. They're not done by Will County at all. They're done by an elder man who goes and, because of his decency as to what's going on in the government, he goes and he makes these videos and of the Joliet government, Homer Township, and other places, and puts them on the web. Again, this is citizen involvement. Anyway, so the May meeting, the April meeting came up here, but you knew what happened to WPAL. So the May meeting is up, the Planning and Zoning Committee is up, the Land Use Committee is up, and we didn't know, even though we had gone, there was also an executive committee meeting that took place on June 14th, 2 days after the Land Use Committee meeting. I would not have known there was any information about the solar farms being talked about at this executive committee meeting, except somebody called me up and said, did you know that they talked about it?
Thanks.
So, and today, I had to come because out of the clear blue sky, I learned that there was a Monee Township planning meeting, and that Monee Township planning meeting was June 7th.
Excuse me, I want to clarify that point. We sent out notifications to the press that that planning commission meeting was being held after you had talked on a day or two earlier asking if we were going to go to the Will County plan. And I said, oh, well, Dorothy's interested. So I made sure that the plan commission meeting was sent to all the press, which is, and now if we don't have your correct address, you need to get that to Willa. But it was sent out to you.
Oh, I know. Karen Hoppy was here for part of the meeting, then she
so
walked out.
don't, you know, when you say that we didn't tell you, that's not true.
No. As citizens of Monee Township who are trying to follow all of this, we did not know that there was an executive. So I got the link to the executive committee also put up. Today, after a lot of work, my son finally got the meeting of the Monee Township Planning Committee. So that is up now on Facebook, and it should be up on YouTube. That is 1 hour and 39 minutes. So you will be getting the full picture of what was presented to the Planning Committee. The community members people who live in Monee Township and pay taxes here should take an interest in what's going on. I don't know if after all of the effort I put forward, they really care or will do anything. But you are the elected people, so I'm coming to you with my statement. Thank you.
Thank you. What I have, and we said at that plan commission meeting, is that now that we know that that is up and going, I'm going to put a little notice in our July newsletter, stating that the plan commission meeting of June 7th is covering the solar farm on Will Center and Calling. Can be viewed on Facebook WPAL, and now that I know that it's up, we can put that in there. So that way the community then will have a little bit more information. Because they're talking about not even having a hearing until at least September in Joliet.
The public could not talk even if they had showed up at the Monee Township planning meeting. As a private citizen, I was the one who went and videotaped it. So showing that citizen involvement in all of this is extremely important.
And as a standard, and it is at our plan commission meetings, and they do not have a public comment section, because the plan commission meeting surveys and listens to people or looks at all the information, and then they give a recommendation to the board. And that is why we have things on our agenda, and that is the time that we have public comment.
Can I ask how many planning meetings were in the years prior to the solar farms coming up?
We haven't had solar farms.
No, but how many meetings of the Monee Township?
We have not had a Monee plan meeting. This is the first time we've had Monee plan meetings in probably 5 to 8 years, because there was no growth or anything out here. There was nothing that was being sent to us from the planning commission. At one time, we had a very active plan commission when a lot of building and everything was going on before the whole market fell apart. We had a plan commission. We also had somebody that was hired as a planner, and that worked with us and at one time in getting a plan commission map and everything out in Monee Township. But that's been a while ago. And now we're just, it's just now things are just starting to happen and change and build. So yes, I'm assuming that there will be more plan commission meetings, and I will make sure that every one of them is sent to the press with enough time so that you can come to the meeting.
Can I ask one more question? Where can we find the names of the people who are on the Monee Township Planning Committee?
Just ask Willa, and she can send it to you.
Will those names be in the next newsletter? I hope they are.
They aren't, but Willa will give you a list.
And when you say the press, where does this go? Because I just moved here. I don't even know what your press or local papers or is it like can I get that from Willa or who the press is?
She's just talking about
all we do is send a notice that we send a copy of the agenda to them showing that the plan commission is planned, because we have to post an agenda for the plan commission.
Okay, so
post it that it's a meeting.
Do I go here to see?
It's posted right out in our box.
And it's also on our website.
So I physically come here, or I go on the website, and then I can find out when a meeting's happening.
And you put it on our website also?
Okay.
You put it on our website.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing more, let us move on into our regular business. We're going to go into the supervisor's report. We have a general assistance report. We had 10 intakes, 9 applications, 0 flat grants, 0 other aid, 14 for pantry, 3 were denied, 1 pending, 0 terminated. We have 7 that are on our GA rolls. We spent for general assistance $1,715, and emergency assistance $3,136.41, for a total of between GA and EA of $4,851.41, and this was for the period of May 11th to June 13th, 2018. The senior committee is going to have their next summertime picnic here at the township on August 15th. They just had a very nice flag day there, if you notice, so we have all our nice fundings and decorations. They decided that they would leave their senior decorations up until after the 4th of July so that we can be patriotic and everybody can enjoy the decorations, which I thought was really nice. Another issue that I'm going to mention is that starting in August, the VA Commission is going to start having monthly meetings here. It's gonna be like the first Monday.
You finish
First
it
Monday in the
and
morning.
come back.
And so that we'll put that in our newsletter also. The VA,
Veterans
right,
Administration
right.
Commission?
Right. And they're going to come and they will help veterans and sign up for things and, fill out paperwork and that type of a thing. And that, as I said, that is something that used to happen and then it stopped for a while. And so now, after we had some veteran people come to our senior resource center, we talked about it at that time and they were in contact and have decided that they can start that up again, which I think is a good thing. So.
That needs to go in the newsletter.
Yes, definitely. That's definitely a newsletter. Will has already got it on her list. Okay, and then I did just want to mention that we did get a letter from the Will County Center for Community Concerns thanking us for our donation, and that was in your packet. That is all I have. Clerk's report, please.
Well, we had a bid on today, it's for road work, and I'm just passing on today. All the details.
All right.
Okay, open today at 10 o'clock.
Okay, open today? Okay, bids today. All right, on the highway project. Is that all?
Yes.
All right, then Highway Commissioner David Rich.
Okay, like Bobby was saying, the bids, probably the biggest bid about the biggest undertaking I've taken since the years I've been here. We had 5 bids. 4 of the people came here in person. The one, when he dropped the bid off, he says, "Oh, I didn't know you had a food pantry here." He was down the street down there, Irrigor paving. He said, "We're going to have to start donating." So maybe we got something good out of it. The bad news is he didn't get the bid, so maybe we won't see him again. Anyhow,
Who was this David?
Iroquois paving.
Iroquois Paving.
Yeah, they dropped the bid off, and he says, "I didn't know about the food pantry," and of course he didn't get the bid. But anyhow, I had budgeted $406,000 for this venture. And gladly, I got the lowest bid was $379,893.20. So I'm kind of happy about that because I got it down below what was budgeted. But the bids did range. I had one bid here for $491,000, and a lot of bids in between that. But I'm pretty happy with what's Austin Tyler. Austin Tyler are the ones that got the bid. They're out of Joliet.
Okay.
They do a lot of work. They're mainly on that side. But the guy that I've always dealt with out of Iroquois, he's working for them now. He quit Iroquois and went over there. So he came back here. Who knows what he was trying to do. But anyhow, we're going to benefit from that, hopefully. And the rest of the things we were doing, we did all the mowing. We got the mowing done for the first time. I've been doing some culvert work, some culvert repair, and everything was going good this morning until I looked outside and saw all the rain. But doing pretty good. No messages when I came in, so I do have a little issue in Heatherbrook. I'm going to take care of that. There's a boat down there on Roberts Ridge Road by those 3 culverts down there. So I contacted the owner of the boat, and I told him it's coming out tomorrow morning.
Okay, which one is that, sir?
Yeah, boat. Yeah, there was a boat in that lake in the back there by you that they call it the pond, but it's a retention pond. There was a boat floating around in there. And white boat went down. It's down by the culverts.
I just saw it, and
You said
Yeah.
boat, I thought you meant electrical.
No.
No, boat. A boat.
I
Yeah,
just saw that.
not a solar panel, a boat.
I volunteer now. He's moving. He's moving to the house right there.
Yeah, right next to you.
Right.
I talked to her.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the house, that pond is shared by 2 or 3 other people, but the one house, what's that, Olivia?
Yeah.
Next cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
Joe, Terra, he's moving. Like,
Oh, yeah.
in a week, and he's been sick, an illness, so I went to cut his yard a couple of days ago.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
2 days ago, and I saw that boat.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you for understanding, because the water's back up. You went in there and dug up or trenched,
Beavers.
dredged the water.
Beaver dams.
beaver dams. So I just
Yeah.
found out the other day you did that, so thank you. I want to thank you
Yeah,
for that.
I've been watching that quite closely.
Okay. Well, thank
And,
you for doing that.
I think that property owned, I think IDOT owns that corner, don't they?
They do.
Yep,
They do.
yeah, I didn't contact you, I just went out there.
Okay, well, thank you so much, because that was...
And I tell you, there was a dam and they were about 8 feet high.
Right, and I tried to dig in there with some boots and a shovel when it was 2 feet high, so it just grew.
Yeah, they're in there, I mean, there's a lot of them in there. When we drained it down, you can see all the holes in the bank,
Thank
where they're
you.
living in there.
So the boat is gone, you got the boat out?
We're gonna get the boat out tomorrow morning.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah. Hopefully one piece, I don't think there will be, but you never know. I told her that, she said that's fine. It's rotten anyhow, she said.
And Joe is moving, he should
Oh.
be out over the next week, I don't know who's coming in, but that's going to be great.
Okay,
Okay,
That
Thank you
should
so
be
much.
it.
for
and
good job.
that's it?
long enough.
Okay.
Oh, can I ask one question? David, on Will Center, and again, I don't know who put the light in on Egyptian going into Heatherbrook. He said you did not do that, because I can't...
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned light, okay, yeah. Yeah.
So you didn't do that. Thanks again for putting the signs up. But who can I talk to for getting a light on Will Center coming out of Heatherbrook on the east end of Robert Ridge? Because
County.
the county. Okay.
Yep.
Because I heard someone almost went straight ahead again into the ditch.
The light that I talked about on
An Egyptian?
Harlem and
Oh, all right. Okay.
and Pauling is finally working, he's finally out.
There's one on Harlem and Pauling?
Yeah, but that accidents, that stop sign there. I put a flashing light and a stop sign. We've had accidents there, but not enough accidents to justify a 4-way stop sign. So I got it lit and I got flashing lights on the stop sign. The
Have
two
you
stop
thought
signs.
about doing anything right in Pauling and Richmond, right? You know, that blind spot there.
We're gonna mow that all down.
No, right before the overpass, not Ridge, is that Ridge? Yeah.
Yeah, Richmond, yeah.
That blind spot, if you're coming,
Yeah.
you know, you can't see the traffic
Yeah,
coming off
yeah.
Pauling.
The frontage road they put in on 57. And that 57 bridge, we just got a letter on that.
Right.
And I've been calling them, that bridge deck is bad. They gotta replace it. They better replace it long before 2024.
And that's IDOT.
In fact, I called them up and I see they got some tarps hanging out there. I think they're scared that pieces are gonna break and
Wow.
fall
Is
down.
that the
the
bridge
track.
that goes towards Monee Reservoir?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you just went fishing there, right?
yeah. On the other side, towards Harlem, yeah, west.
And that is IDOT,
Yes, thank God, yeah.
okay.
Thanks
Anything
again.
else?
Thank
You're
you.
talking about replacing the whole bridge, right?
No, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do.
All right, so then the assessor's not here, so we'll go on, attorney, Jeff is not here from the plan commission, and we don't have, okay, let's go into new business. Will Ride, this discussion, cost for March was $2,619.72, and that was paid for with the credit that we have there, and we still have a credit left of $1897.89, so we paid for almost another month, maybe not quite. The next one is the 2019 Township of Illinois membership dues, $784 plus $50 for associate members dues, for a total to send them of $834.20. Is there a motion to approve this? Moved by Debbie, seconded by Terry. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bowles? Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Nevers?
Yes. All right, the next item is, I need a motion to approve the Township Officials of Illinois Supervisor Division dues of $35. Is there a motion to do so? Moved by Maurice, second by Terry. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Nevers?
Yes. The next one is an announcement of the 2018 elected officials training in Lyle, Naperville on July 20th, which is a Thursday. No, I think July 20th is a Friday, that's wrong.
I'm sorry.
It's a Friday. And the deadline is June 26th to sign up, so you'll have to let Willa know if you're going to. I am not going to be going, I'm going to be going to see John Sanders that night.
He's still.
Yeah, he'll be at,
I'm sorry.
he's still around, and he's doing a concert on July 20th, so I'm going to that. So I can't go.
You went down with James Brown.
Anyway, please let Willa know if anybody's interested in doing that. The next item is the AdCoin annual dues of $75. Is there a motion to approve the AdCoin dues? Moved by James, second. Second. Debbie, moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Daniels?
Yes. Okay. Next thing we have is what we have to do by law every year is we have to pass the 2018 Prevailing Wage Ordinance, where we have to assure that if any bids or anything that we do, that we are paying the standard wage that is as announced every year. So is there a motion to approve the prevailing wage? So moved by Debbie. Second by Terry. Any discussion?
Just real quick, David, on this prevailing wage, I get a little confused. I know we operate under prevailing wage for Will County, right? I'm not sure how that, I mean, you have guys that operate machines, tractors, so on and so forth. They make a certain wage. You have the union people, they have to be paid prevailing wages when they do governmental job. But that price, that wage is so much higher than your guys. How does that work?
Well, on the bottom of the grid, we put in there that they got adhered to the Prevailing Wage Act.
But what the difference is that we can pay salaries, and they've
Yeah.
stated that many times.
That's right.
We can set our own salaries, which we do for our
We do.
own people.
That's what we do.
And
That's
that's
what I do.
totally different than the prevailing wage that we
That's
have
right.
to do if you contract outside help in.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so our guys don't necessarily get paid the prevailing wage?
No, they do not.
They do not.
Okay, so the prevailing wage we're talking about is contractors that we hired.
Correct.
We have to pay them for, and we have to ensure whoever we contract with that they are paying their guys prevailing wage. They have to ensure
And
us,
that goes into the bid contract.
or it goes in the bid contract.
Yeah. Like when they get this road job done, I'll get their whole payroll.
Got it.
They'll give me, I have pages and pages of people, I know what every person made that work on that job. We got that.
So is our people paid more or less than
Much
That's
less, because
Less,
it's outrageous
much less.
prices that they have on
The
prevailing
prevailing
wage.
wage,
No.
the union wages.
the prevailing wage?
The prevailing wage is basically union wages,
That's true.
which includes benefits and all of that.
Right.
But they get better.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, the roll call vote.
I know we've actually done it for both the township and the road district. We're supposed to split them out, or, just like the, other ordinance that we have. Or
What do you
we
mean,
just,
send them out?
well, would that be a prevailing wage for township and a prevailing wage for the...
Prevailing ordinance of Will County, isn't it?
For the state.
State wage, okay, state ordinance.
Illinois Township.
The only thing we have to do is if you have a bid, you put it in the bid instead.
They do get all,
And if it changes, then you brought the question up, I think, a couple of weeks ago.
One we have is set for September.
Because of June, it changed, it obviously changed in June. So when the information is sent out for the original bid, presumably there would have been the then prevailing wage. But now that it presumably goes up with this, then we have an obligation to provide the contractor with evidence as to what the prevailing wage is
Okay,
now.
so but the Austin company that got this, then we need to send them an updated list of the prevailing wages then for 2018. Now, would you?
Well, actually, the date on the prevailing wages for September 2017.
Yeah.
They changed their bid to compensate for that, right? They have the opportunity.
Well, I don't understand that, but when does that take effect?
Well, it says 2018 and June 20, no, I don't know.
It says September 2017.
The only wages that was on there was from September 2017.
Yeah.
So those are the current ones that they have on the website for the Department of Labor.
Okay.
That's the one they ran the bid on,
Yeah, okay.
I suspect.
Those are current ones. They don't have any 18 to 18.
Okay, this is the latest, so the one that they have the latest version.
Right.
We have, this happened last year too, is that we did not get a current for months after they actually had to pass this in June. It was months before they actually published a new one. So it's the state that's a little behind in
The one that's in
that.
front of you is the current one.
Right, so they have, the bidder has that most current one. Okay, we need a roll call, please.
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Dabler?
Yes. And just for everybody's information, newsletter articles are due July 6th to Willa, so we can get this out by the end of July. Next item is the zoning, and it was just a discussion item, and we were discussing the Will Center Road and Pauling Road, and we've kind of discussed it a lot. Did we have some more discussion?
The young lady, she brought up some good points because, we talked about just the lubricant again, how the lubricant can be adverse to the environment. One or two of the controllers and operators of these solar panels, the lubricant that's used for these particular actuators may not hurt. When we talk about 7,000, she brought up a lot of good points. So even though us as a board may not see ourselves as having a big impact on how we vote, but I think when we take things into consideration, what she said, and we do a little bit more due diligence and try and find out a little bit about how these solar panels operate and the business people that drive home to try to get these plants put in different neighborhoods, how they operate. I think we may want to take a step back and see how we vote. So I'm gonna get a little bit more smarter, even though a couple things they said already stopped me from voting in favor of it for Route 50 and Offner.
Well, 15 Offner was already voted on.
No, from us.
Okay.
That's why I voted no.
But that, as I said, it doesn't have, that what they're going to do, Will County is. The other thing
Yeah, but on
is
an individual basis, I feel
Right.
good on an individual basis. When they came and tried to sugarcoat some things, I saw things I didn't like at all from what they told me. So I feel pretty good on an individual basis that I would vote in favor of it.
The 15 Offner site is the only one that has the rotating head.
Okay.
The site that is on Pauling and
It's
Will
fixed.
Center is fixed. It does
Okay.
not rotate at all.
Okay. But when you talk about 7,000, I guess we're talking about right there, and I go past that corner on a daily basis. I don't want to see that enough. We had a cell tower just the adjacent diagonal to that corner, the big cell tower with a light flashing red. I don't want it. And again, my subdivision, Hellebrook, is extended to Pauling. A lot of people don't know that. We have 6, 7 houses right there on Pauling as part of our subdivision. And that's going to be almost directly across the street from this proposed solar panel location. So I'm going to drive hard to get our people out to come to the meetings in Will County or whatever.
And ask them to watch that June 7th meeting that is taped by WPAL.
Okay.
And because we did ask a lot of questions, and you
When is
judge
the
for
next-
yourself. Well, we're not having a planning.
No, when's the next Will be on the next Will County?
No, it's not set yet because
Okay.
they weren't even talking until September
Okay.
on that. Now, because they had just put their proposal in or petition in.
So
or
they
whatever
didn't
it
vote
is.
for Route 50 to offer yet? in favor?
There's not, the planning commission has got a consensus of yes, that they were for, that they didn't see any problem to it. But they're not, they couldn't bring it to the board for a vote because it hasn't got an official number yet.
The planning commission for Will County?
No, for Monee Township.
But how far has it gotten to your knowledge at Will County?
It's just in the land use committee.
Okay.
And it's only a petition in there, and they were still getting documents together for the land use committee, and they were told by the land use committee that they couldn't even get it on and to be heard until September.
Okay, so right now, Monee Township planning committee has voted in favor of it for Route 50. Also, Pauline, we as a board voted in favor for Route 50.
Right.
And offered, but not
for
the
the
other
other
one
right.
on Will Center and Pauline.
And that's not even on it, that's a discussion only next week.
Right.
When it gets to the point where it has to be, they set up a hearing, and we need to send a letter, then we can do that. But now, what Joe also, I think, said to me is that we don't have to do anything. We don't have to send a letter of yay or nay.
Did we send a letter to them?
We sent a letter to the 50 Gallagher project saying that no objection. That's what the board voted on.
And I think they need to hear from us because we did send a letter about the first one.
Right.
So we should take a stand on the second.
Right.
I'll be more concerned with how the community of Heatherbrook feels about it. Because one of my concerns is that we must include the community in sharing their opinion. I would be very concerned if I was a homeowner in Heatherbrook, if the solar farm was going in there. So I want to hear from them.
Okay, fair enough. And as I said, I think everybody should watch that hour and 39-minute June 7th Plan Commission, because I think that there was a lot of questions that we had, and there were a lot of answers that we felt were viable. So it wouldn't hurt to listen and to watch that. So I would suggest everybody that's interested in the solar farm watch that. So it was a.
And how do we get access to that?
How to get access? You go to Facebook and then WPAL.
Well, that's great.
Are you asking
I'm
me?
asking how do you access that? I do go to Facebook and then to WPAL.
You can go to WPALTV.com and it will take you to the Facebook page.
Thank you. Okay.
WPALTV.com.
WPALTV.com, and then there will be a link to the.
It'll be right there.
Okay, it'll be right there, and that takes you then to YouTube?
Pardon? It should go to YouTube later, but he's putting in an awful lot of work for this.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you very, very much. All right. Let's go on in old business. We've got our new windows and doors in, with the exception of the one window that we're here that doesn't have blinds, because all these are all new, right? And what they did is that window came in cracked, and so they have to replace it, and it'll be about another 2 weeks before we can get that one in. And we're not, we won't pay them their final payment until it's all completely
And these
done.
are new doors?
Now, the two doors on the side are Bobby's office and that door over there. The front door is not new. That was okay. And I looked around when I first got here tonight after all the rain that we had, and I didn't see any water. What was happening last time is that we had water. Last time we had real severe rains, we had water. That floor was just soaked over there. So it is doing what it is supposed to do, which is sealing everything up.
How was the workmanship while you was here, while he was doing it?
They cleaned up after themselves.
They did.
So how long did it take, roughly?
They were here 2 days to
2
put the
days.
windows in. Yeah.
And they did a lot of it that first day, and we were having our plan commission meeting on June 7th. They came in June 6th and June 7th. And, on June 7th and June 8th. And then on June 7th, they were able to work later because the plan commission was here later. So they were still buzzing around in here and
So
on the
thumbs up as
outside.
far as the workmanship?
Yeah.
They come and they rechecked it.
They were polite to you,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Do they have screens on the outside where you can let them up?
They are.
These ones. These are going to be picture windows only.
Those are just.
Right. The fronts are only picture windows because we only need the air on the cross breeze comes this way. So we got the screens, they have screens here and here.
Did they put the alarms back on?
Not yet, we waiting for, I think we just waiting for this window to come in,
Yeah.
and then I call
We may want to look at the
something different.
than the alarms on each window. Because there's, what the guy told me, that if they break the window,
Might go off.
they won't go off.
But once
So
they
they get in here
step
and move around.
inside.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm wondering about the value of even putting them on for the window open, since they're going to get picked up when they come in here. Because a lot of these places are getting this smash and grab stuff.
You don't have the motion detectors?
Yeah.
No, we do, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, we do.
We revealing ourselves.
No, definitely we do. The minute you walk in the door, in fact, we've had it a couple times where we've had Monee police come by, is that if you do not do that alarm in a certain amount of time after you've come in,
Oh, yeah.
then it will set off the alarm at the
I've
police
had that
station,
alarm.
and 5 minutes later, I
Yeah,
have
just
the
ask me, I know.
Yeah, Bobby set it off, I've set it off a couple times,
I've set it
and, so,
Can they charge us for it?
Because they're taking because they're taking those down, the sensory is off a little bit, so.
but when you come in, you take a couple steps after that, if you don't try to turn it off at all, it goes off. Yeah, so, yeah, it works at, I don't know, is that something we want to discuss with them to see if they're necessary?
I mentioned that the guy told me they could pick up the sound of the window break.
Okay.
So we talked about something. I don't remember. My memory is,
I don't know, if they
I'm
were
getting too old for
in,
that. So.
they were installed before our board took over, so I don't know
Yeah,
the purpose of
When I
it.
call
So.
back over, I asked him if there's.
Okay, yeah. He was, I was talking to him outside. I asked him about this.
Yeah, we'll ask them anyway and see if that's really necessary, the purpose of it. But it'd be about another 2 weeks, we get them to finish it up.
We got home too long.
So you said we haven't paid,
We had to give them a down payment. We will not pay the final payment until that window's completely done.
Okay, so which, just that one?
That one, right. Everything
the only
else,
one?
that's the only one.
And we have paid them roughly, what's, half? Okay.
No, we don't even know we didn't pay half. We only paid them about 25% or something, 30%, yeah. It
And
wasn't,
when is the estimated time to get this one? Did they give us?
2 weeks.
And it came in broke?
Yeah, maybe. So I think it was, they did a good job, basically. All right, let's move on to the project reports. Going green, we still keep putting our recycling information in the newsletter.
Yeah, keep the solar panels on it.
Well, I want to tell you that our new windows and doors also are better for the
E-glass
sun.
and all
They're
that.
the E-energy glass that is supposed to be far better for the energy and keeping everything warmer and colder, so we're good. All right, youth committee. Marisa, have you had a chance to talk to anybody about when we can start again in the fall?
No, I will, and I still owe some deliverables too, as far as paperwork and all that. It's just been kind of very taxing over the last couple of weeks, so.
If you could get
I
that
will
to her,
get
but
that.
actually, if
For the
you
paper,
could,
for the newspaper?
yes, that's what we need it
Yeah,
by.
okay.
Right, by July 6th, right, because that's the way we can put a newsletter article in there and at least say our starting date is such and such and such and such, even if we haven't voted it on the board meeting for the total dates.
Okay, well, please manage me, call my secretary, my daughter, my dog, email my 5 emails.
I emailed you.
I know, but do it to my 5 emails.
I guess he's saying every
Oh,
day,
every day.
just redo that same email.
Call
and send it
Terry,
to
tell
him.
Terry, call Deb, tell Deb, call Bobby, Bobby call me, and then Joe. Okay.
Okay, well,
I didn't lost my credibility.
yes, well, when we put that article in, we always say we're looking for volunteers.
Just wondering if we.
Right. And every meeting we say we're looking for volunteers and we need to be vetted and we pay for the vetting and so please. I'm hoping that maybe some of the kids that are in the area that have now turned to 18 and above.
Well, even,
might
maybe
want to
how, like students who are not Governor State, maybe in that dorm, maybe you can, they're right here on campus, maybe you can create some type of volunteer internship, community service, something
Opportunity.
where they're right there and they come over and assist.
But we had a family that said that they were volunteer.
Just could do a little thing over to them.
Good.
Don't have time to, research that.
Because we do need to help poor Maurice because he's being left with the whole thing. We wouldn't have it if it wasn't for Maurice and his family, so. That's Admiral Maurice, but we want to help you somehow. Yeah, Willa, and, we need to get people back involved. Right. All right, let's move into the trustee audit of accounts. We have accounts for the period of May 18th, 2018 to June 21st, 2018, for a total of $102,170.40. I'm going to start it down this way first. The audit of accounts. Moved by James.
Second.
Second by Maurice. Any discussion? None? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Devon?
Yes. All right, any board comments?
I'd just like to say, I looked up the date for the educational seminar, and it's actually, the one at Naperville is going to be actually August 9th. It's a Thursday.
Oh.
And the one July 19th, which is a Thursday, is in Rockford.
What was on July 20th that we...
Based upon.
So August.
So the one that's at Naperville is August 9th, which is a Thursday.
August 9th. What was that? I thought we were going to...
July
19th.
July 19th is in Rockford.
Okay, but I thought...
This one says Lyle Naperville,
Yeah.
Thursday, July 20th.
Yeah, what was that?
Actually,
They got
Friday.
it mixed up.
They got it mixed up.
We didn't write the right date. I tell you what, let's...
Well, based upon, this is the perspective. And
Look at your
I just
perspective
looked it
and
up.
double check, and if that's a Lyle one, is August 19th?
Yeah, yes, yes, Naperville.
No, August 9th.
August 9th.
August 9th.
It's neighborhood.
But it is a Thursday.
This is Thursday. All of them are on Thursday. This May 24th date and the July 19th date and the August 9th date, they're all
Okay, well, we
Thursday.
got the Thursday part right on it. We just didn't have the date right on it. So I guess, everybody, so now I said is there a different deadline for it? Because the deadline would have been June 26th, but to sign up for August 9th, is there a deadline for that?
Should be at the bottom.
Don't see the,
I'll look it up and see.
you look it up.
We'll look it up and email everybody.
I just looked it up in here, and I just want to bring it to the attention that way.
All right, we'll look it up and then everybody can kind of look at, and they give everybody a deadline on that. So I might be able to go then, if it's August 9th. So that would be good. Okay.
I've got one thing too.
Yeah,
The
James.
University Park Public Library has started registration for the summer tutoring program. As of today, we've got 46 kids registered for the program. And it appears that every community that feeds into Creek Monee School District 201U is represented.
Good.
Park Forest, Creek, Monee, and the majority of the students are from University Park. Every year the township does provide some type of financial support. So I would be looking or requesting that the board consider that again this year.
We need you to do like they did last year. We need a letter from the University Park Board, Library Board requesting, and send that in so that we have it on our July meeting.
Okay. That's good. Also, I am still monitoring this national investigations with Creek Monee School District. And as of the end of May, from October 18th until the end of May of this year, it appears that Creek Monee School District 201U has spent in excess of $52,692 to national investigations to do residency check on the students. And based upon what I've seen thus far, they have not done anything that the staff of Creek Monee can do. Because we have the leadership, we have the staff, and we have the skills within the school district to do that. So it appears that that $52,000 plus dollars could have been saved and utilized elsewhere. So that's where I am.
How many was the final count on, the last time I had spoken to the board president, they had said only 30-some children had been, had actually been identified or anything. But
well, that is still being determined because the FOIA that I submitted, Dr. Clark, the assistant superintendent in Creek Monee, wanted additional time because she had a meeting scheduled with National Investigations. So I'm waiting on that final report.
Yeah. And it was only 30 letters that they had sent out, and that wasn't even anything else. And she'd said she'd even gotten a letter because of the way something was done on a property that she had.
But I do know they have not excluded any child by the end of the school year. So whatever National Investigations identified, it did not result in any child being excluded. But that's not to say they're not going to prevent them from re-registering for the next school year. Okay, but I just find it excessive.
Not a gray area again. Yeah. Sorry, you don't come today that they were basing on their hit, so to speak, on return of letters, certified letters, but come to find out specifically at University Park that certified letters that were sent out, many of those letters were sent back because the residents wasn't at home, the homeowners was not at home to sign for them, from what I understand. So, and they gave it one shot, the postal letter carrier gave it one shot. Usually you try a couple of times, but they gave it one shot and then returned it back to the school district. So I'm finding out that happened. So there's still a lot of vagueness in the numbers, all of that, but I know we had $10,000 initially budget, and then it went to 20, and it's the first time I'm hearing $52,000.
Yeah, I can verify the numbers through the FOIA request that Dr. Clark responded to, but it's more than $52,692.
Great.
Which is excessive and unnecessary.
All right, and I just want to add, you finished, James? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to add, the board approved a master plan that's going to cost the homeowners $84 million, the property homeowners, $84 million, but when it's all said and done, about $175 million for a massive facility building process, which will include doing away with CSK. So University Park would not have a neighborhood school. Park Forest School would be gone too. So every Park Forest resident would be bused to schools outside of their district, from the kindergarten all the way to the high school level. That's what this plan consists of, okay? So Creed Elementary, the old Creed Elementary would be done away with, but Morrow, MEC, CSK, about all 4 or 5 of those schools would be done.
Where they're going to house them?
And build new what
They
schools?
talked about Gray Centers, which they'll build a new school. Talking about demolishing the 6th grade center for the old high school as early as October of this year. A new K through 2, which will be called Creed Elementary, will be built there. So all K through 2nd grade students will go to that particular school.
So are they all going to be IB program? Through the IB
They haven't made this kind of not. So the proven IB program, the CSK will be out the window.
Really?
So I have that's just on. So the board approved just this past week to move forward with this without a referendum So
How do they do that?
the way the creative financing that they're doing, debt certificates, alternative bonds, and refunding and funding bonds, all of that creativeness, they can do that without a referendum. Okay. More to follow, big more to follow.
And no superintendent. You got it.
We do not have a superintendent yet. So it's been a year and they're not going to start the search again until August. So it'll be minimum until January of next year, almost 2 years. So they started this process and moved forward with this plan without a superintendent. This interim superintendent that we have, contract expired, I believe on the 19th, or actually, yeah, 19th of this month. So his last meeting was just the other day. We're in the process of bringing more people to the plate for interviewing, starting Monday for an interim position. It's crazy. We was paying $1,000 a day to the interim superintendent. It's pretty challenging to say the least.
Sounds like it.
So
nothing's changed?
Nothing's changed.
Okay.
It's pretty challenging. No matter who you get there in those seats, it's just nothing changed.
How
So
can
this is
they
a big challenge
get
here.
away with the CSK? I mean, I just don't understand how they think they can get away with it with all that, with the lawsuits and everything that we have.
I think it's much matter. You know, I think it's just you challenge us. You challenge
So
us. This is what we're
it's
going
a
to do. We're going to
challenge.
steamroll you, and you know, you want to challenge us.
File a suit like we did the last time, and
And I may mention, you go look. You know, I may mention it's been very contentious, very. It's just drained. It's just drained. A lot of fighting behind closed doors. A lot of fighting. You look at it.
you have a 7-member board.
Seven.
So what's the vote on these coming in at?
It's 5-2. It's, you know, it's Dr. Hall, myself, I guess, the 5 other members. So it's racially divided, basically.
I missed that last board meeting. It was last Tuesday night. But it's all online. I'm waiting to post it online so I can take a
And
look.
I said, how?
You know,
how
because
could you
CSK,
Yeah.
CSK is one of the highest performing schools academically in the district.
Then in the middle school.
That in the middle school, yeah. But I find it ironic that they would try and even take on a big task as building a school or reorganizing the student body without a superintendent. That's the first thing. And in the field of education, that's an absolute no-no. Okay? And then the second thing is that you would take a school that has demonstrated high excellence and destroy it. You know, that's you know, I was on that committee that helped rename that school. Hickory was underperforming.
I was on the committee that had the lawsuit that we retained the school in University Park.
And then we submitted several names, and it was correct Scott King's name that was chosen.
It's been drooling.
Okay, is there any other comments? I should pass, take yours, pass it
I
down.
think I deserve all of these checks.
All right, seeing none other, is there a,
Thanks.
Will you please deposit it?
seeing none other, is there a
Will you please
motion?
deposit it?
Motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Moved by James, second by, who wants to help go home?
Third.
Terry. James and Terry. Is there a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Bowles,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Trustee Brown?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Trustee Burgess,
Yes.
Trustee Young,
Yes.
you go out of that room.
Yes.